Silly
shot.
goose.
When you
But-
say we, you mean you?
Excuse you. I think we're live. Are we live?
Hello.
I think so. Yes,
hope so.
we are.
We are. Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stream Queens Con 2. Woo! What is the story? What is the goss? What is the tea? Everyone, I hope that you are so excited for the convention. My name is Nikki Stones, and welcome to UK Hun, ROI Babe, a discussion about the drag scene in the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland. Welcome in. So, we've got some fabulous drag artists here from all over the UK and Ireland that are here to tell you a little bit about their lives. So I suppose we might as well just get started. My name's Nikki Stones. I'm Dublin's drag K-pop idol. I stream on twitch.tv/Nikki_Stones twice a week, every Tuesday and Sunday. I'm a member of Team Stream Queens, your local non-binary crush and an autistic mixed race drag legend, and my home scene is Dublin. I also want to introduce you to another Irish icon, the legendary Donna Tart. Tell us about yourself, Donna.
Hi, I'm Donna Tart. I'm a variety streamer. I am a professional baker and a drag artist from Dublin as well. We do a lot of variety, a lot of horror, lots of baking and charity work. And out of drag, in drag, pronouns she, they. Out of drag, I use any, NB, ADHD, that fun train that we're all on at the moment, you know. But yeah, hi. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you're good for now. You're good for now.
Stunning.
You're
Stunning.
good.
Irish icon, there we go.
Irish icon. There we go. There we go. And speaking of icons, we can't have an iconic chat without going over to one of my personal best friends in the entire world. Please give it up for Bunny O'Honey. Hi, Gorge.
Hello, how are you?
I'm
So I'm Bunny O'Honey. I'm a known face on the Lincoln drag scene. I am that chair dancing, fire breathing, emo one that is usually found falling over something, probably just the floor. But I'm a mess. Nice to meet you.
I can attest
She was
to
the
that.
floor and floor queen.
Oh my god. Speaking of floor and, well, just... Well, I don't know where I'm going with that. Sariba, tell us about yourself.
What's that even meant to mean? Anyway, I'm Sariba. I'm one of the former Lincoln local queens, now moved back to my hometown, where I've been working with Glitterbomb Bucks once more. I'm the only one not in drag because I just didn't have the time.
She's a busy queen. She's a busy queen.
Busy.
She got off the train about half an hour ago.
Oh my goodness. And last but not least.
Sob story music.
Last but not least, like, let's be real, you 100% know who she is. It's Rebel. Like, everyone knows who you are here, but go on, give us that introduction.
She's a UK hun. So hi, my name's Rebel. I am a drag artist from the northeast, based in Newcastle upon Tyne. But pretty much all my drag stuff is on Twitch. I have been on Twitch for about a year and a half now. I'm very mental health orientated, mindfulness, growth, alongside encouraging people to discover their most favorite and comfy version of themselves and stepping forward in life as that person as soon as they feel ready to do so.
Yes, awesome. I will say, like, Ree does mental, like, not to like toot Ree's horn or anything, but I'm totally tooting your horn right now. I'm gonna toot your horn for a bit. Ree does mental health streams every single Sunday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. GMT, so definitely tune in for those because it's just like a really good safe space. And well, we all have a safe space. It's really, really nice sometimes to just go in and not feel bad for being like, yeah, I don't feel too good today, and saying it. So we stand. But you know what? I gotta ask you a quick question. What is your drag? Donna, what is your drag?
Oh God. So my drag is a combination. Actually, you know what? My drag has kind of developed because of Twitch. Originally, it was all just, you know, like kind of pin up, kind of. I don't like saying housewife, but that's what people always used to say. But it's kind of developed into just me because I feel like over time this whole Donna thing has kind of combined with myself out of drag and in drag. So really, my drag is just a prettier version of myself. who bakes cakes. Yeah, that's all it is. I don't really know I don't know what to say. Okay, you put me on the spot.
Wait, so it's a prettier version of yourself who bakes cakes. Are you saying you don't bake cakes out of drag?
Okay, move on. Rude.
We'll move on.
I have cakes in drag. Thank you. There we go.
Oh my god. Can you pass them my way? I'm in need of some. But moving on, because since Stone has yelled at us to move on, Sariba, what is your drag? How do you describe your drag?
Bunny, how do you describe my drag?
You've got 2 numbers.
Let's not even talk about what they are, because they're definitely not for most audiences. I'd say probably more one of the dance orientated, which is more just me throwing myself around to music and seeing what happens.
You do
Normally
some really cool
extremely intoxicated. I normally do what?
You do cool mixes.
Oh, I
Like,
do cool mixes.
Yeah.
My mixes are fun. Oh, I've made a mix that I was planning on doing before I left Lincoln, and I just didn't get around to doing it. And then I was listening to it over here before doing a gig, and I was like, why did I make this?
Make a digital version of it. That's what we've all done. We all just made digital versions of everything that we wanted to do.
It's a mix based around Harriet Jones, MP for Flydale North.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Exactly.
and on that
Yeah.
note, thank you for tuning in.
Government gonna shut us down.
Oh my god.
No, y'all know it's a Doctor Who reference, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it does have a little bit of Theresa May in there, just for good measure.
Just to be safe. Just to be safe. Rebel, how would you describe your drag? Like what's the consensus?
My drag is all about blurring lines around gender, encouraging people to rethink what they have been taught, what they have learned through their lives, and to open their minds to people who have walked a different journey and will have different lived experiences, and to destroy heteronormativity, shatter gender roles, and just completely boggle people's brains when they look at me and think like, why does that really attractive, what I'm assuming is a woman, have a very manly beard? Well, let me tell you, because gender's a construct.
True. That's great. Bunny, I challenge you not to mention a scene band in this.
Ooh.
So out of drag, I'm a punk rock girl anyway. So my husband is in a punk band, as you can see by the guitars behind me. So that's pretty much been my life since I was about 15, just surrounding myself with like really cool music. So I like to kind of put a lot of that into my drag and my performances. I always like to say a good performance track for me is a song you can strip to. So, I always like in my car, I've constantly got songs on. I'm like, I really want to perform this. And I'm in my car, just like, okay, try not to like kick my leg out and stuff. Because I like to do chair burlesque as well now. So I've been doing that for about 2 years. So I like to kind of like swing around on chairs, like throw my legs out in the air and whatnot. It's been so much fun. And I just kind of like to show that drag isn't necessarily just all camp stuff. It can be, whatever music taste that you like. It doesn't have to be, feather boas and stuff. It can be stripper heels and bodysuits and stuff.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And in a way, my drag is kind of similar to Bunny's as well, because while I didn't go down the whole punk rock route, I went down a more of like a Asian influence and Korean influence. My main thing is K-pop. If you mention like Blackpink to me, I probably know a routine to it. Like it's a thing. So a lot of the time, my thing revolves around heavy choreographed routines and that whole thing of like, I don't want to look like really, really campy. I don't want to be with the big like feather boas and the big like the red wig and the silver dress. I don't.
Which is stunning, by the way. Thank you.
Donor feels attacked. but I'm similar in that way. Like my drag is kind of different. But so we've talked about our drag. Like what's the scene like, and how does the scene respond to, like, what is your, okay, we'll split this into a couple of different questions. How does your drag fit in with your scene, and what other types of drag can you see when you're in your scene? So I think we'll fly down to Reed. Do you want to take this one?
That's so much pressure. Okay, yeah, fine. So I'm relatively new to my scene. So I lived in London, pretty much. So I was in the army for a decade. I left the long story. I left the army, kind of like, okay, well, who am I and what is life? Landed in London, had no real interest in pursuing drag at this point. And then, oh, this is gonna be a long story. Okay, and then I kind of like discovered drag while I was living in London, and I was like, huh. So the fact that I like really liked walking like a woman, air quotes, I really like skirts and I really like knee-high boots and everything. I can do that. This is an option for me. So I started to like discover drag, and then I was looking to like get into the London scene and like started like making friends there. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, and I was like, oh, this is a very expensive rent area for someone who's just lost their job. Okay, what's option number two? So I moved up to Newcastle just over a year ago, and it's been like, you know, heavy lockdowns when I got here, and then I've only just started to like have a look outside and be like, okay, let's have a look. Anyway, my local scene, let's talk about it. So we have a thing called Drag Castle here, which I'm a member of. Drag Castle, obviously being a play on Newcastle drag. We've got like cis women queens that run it. We've got Ivy and Frida, two of my drag siblings, cis women that run Drag Castle. Frida just won Drag Idol here in Newcastle as well. We got a drag king in Drag Castle. Like it's a beautiful, diverse collection of humans that have just come together. Here in Newcastle, we've got like the main scene, which is run by like, you know, the big queens such as like Miss Rory. I don't mean big as in some of you might be hearing it, you know, well-known kind of queens. Please don't come from Miss Rory. But I'm very kind of like still dipping my toes into the local scene and learning more about it. But I'm very excited about the areas I've discovered so far, and I'm very excited about the relationships I've developed with my fellow drag artists in the area thus far.
Awesome. That
solid, yeah.
yeah, like how do we follow that? Like,
Can we answer all of them first? Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, God, this is a solid thing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm reading the captions as well, like, oh my God.
Speaking of the captioning, isn't it the best thing ever? We're actually
good.
running our meetings through Google Meet this time instead of through Discord. So closed captioning is now available to everyone throughout the entire con. So all 4 days, all the events are going to be captioned. So accessibility is
Buddy doing what Buddy does best.
But
self-inflicted injuries.
to be honest. But yeah, so the way that Rebel, Donna, you'll understand this as well, because like we're kind of in the same city. So like Rebel, you mentioned like how there's like the kind of top drag artists. For us, we've got the same. We've got the George being the top bar, and then we've got kind of the other little scenes around it with like Blacklight was one of them, Out with the Misses was one, Cis was another, Queer Cabaret. So it's very similar in a way, although Donna, do you think I'm going to throw a question your way, and I don't mean this in a shady way. Do you think that Dublin has the same diversity of drag that you get in a scene such as London?
Absolutely not. We have very, very small scene in that, whereas like Dublin, you have maybe 3 to 4 clubs, 3 clubs I think that are persistently LGBT, and 2 of them have drag shows, and you kind of see the same kind of people, and they are fabulous performers, but it is kind of like the food chain where if you're at the top of it, you always get these same things. And it is exciting because we have a lot of smaller clubs, a lot of independent events such as Blacklight, such as Cis, that do their own thing, and you get like a cool variety. But it's very hard because I guess the food chain are people who have been in the scene for 10 years, And 10 years in Ireland is not very diverse at all. I think we could do a lot better. But a place like London, and I had the similar story to Rebel, where I was living in London up until COVID hit, and the rent sent me right back home. But London is just a crock pot of like really, and like so many different like cultures and so many different drags and so many different people. And although we have like the kind of club kid, we've kind of got cabaret. London has everything and more, but I mean their scene is so much older and so much bigger than ours, but it's more spread out. So
Yeah.
but I still love both
Definitely.
scenes individually. I like ours because ours feels more heartfelt, whereas London feels a little bit colder because there is just so much more and there's so many people, and it is a lot more of a you fight for gigs as opposed to ours on a smaller scale, basically.
Yeah, definitely. There is 100% a feeling sometimes where like the people that are at the top of the food chain, Veda, Shirley Temple Bar, Davina Divine, they've been doing drag 20, 30 years. Like
They're amazing as well. Like,
and
yeah.
they rightly so, they're at the top of the food chain because of they've worked hard, they've put the effort in, they do what they love, and they do what they're good at.
Mm.
And to be fair, they are letting a lot of different types of drag in now, which is really, really good. But we're a very young scene. We're a young scene. Like
It's ever changing. It's
Yeah.
always changing. 2 years ago, completely different, I feel.
100%. Going into COVID and coming out of COVID, Dublin is completely different. And I feel like you've seen something similar to that as well, Bunny and Sariba, with your scene. Any thoughts on how it's affected your scenes in up the north?
Do you want to take this one, Sariba?
Oh, is this because you're scared that I'm going to say something hella shady now, but I'm not there?
Well, you're in the bar more than I am. I mean, I'm literally only there for cabaret nights. You'd be there more of a shop girl. You'd see more kind of what's going on, who else is coming in, and I mean, like you saw like Muella and stuff when they started coming in, and
True.
you know, you've got Danny and Spunky they came out of lockdown. It was like, okay, we've come out of lockdown and we have these new ones.
Yeah.
Hello. It's like the rest of us
So
were like,
what,
we've been doing this 82 years.
Well, what it was so when I first started working there, what was that, about 3-4 years ago? I went in, did the odd cabaret because they put on monthly cabarets to raise money for their local pride. And then after that, I kind of got a job doing a shot girl shift once a week, which the people that did the shot shifts were people that were always around who could do like pick up the availability when they were there. So I think there was maybe 3 of us doing shot shifts.
What does shot shift mean? What is that?
Shot girls are going around selling shots.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
So just, me looking all fishy and glamorous and like, oh yeah, lovely, lovely ladylike. And then the night I worked was also one of the student nights in town, another venue. So they would close and then we would get busy. So it's just me walking around all dainty and feminine and someone being rowdy in the back, being like, oi, what do you want? It was a camp time.
This scene as a bar I think it's the one that opens the latest in Lincoln.
Yeah.
So all the other bars are shut and everyone heads to the scene.
Yeah. Which is both a blessing and a curse. Because it's the one gay bar, not only in the city, but in the county up until, what was it? Well, Scunthorpe not really count, does it?
Scunthorpe's not got one. Grimsby's got one, which only opened in May. And then Cleethorpes has got one, which opened, about a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
But even then, that's just a bar. They don't put on shows really there, do they? Like we do.
No, it's like Lincoln's really the primary like drag bar in the county, but then show-wise, it's not as much as you'd expect from a gay bar. But it's also like we're in a predominantly student city where the clientele is ever changing, so you couldn't really have a set amount of right. We're going to do this show, this show, this show. And now, because like Bunny was saying, we've got more queens showing up, there's not as much opportunity for people anymore. So like when we first started doing it, we'd be performing for no pay whatsoever. Then they changed it to, oh, we'll get you some like drinks vouchers, then no pay again, no drinks vouchers because somebody got a bit rude about it. And then recently we did it. Then recently they changed it to ticket prices.
Yeah.
So the ticket money would go to the Queens, but then the last 2 shows I did for them before I moved were both Rue girls. So the ticket money went to them. So the local Queens weren't getting paid again.
No, we got a
I was
bottle of
like,
vodka
"Wow,
backstage.
I
Yeah,
hate
and then I
when
bought another one because I was drunk.
I hate when venues think it's acceptable to offer drinks tokens for performances. Like, can you come and work for free,
Yeah.
and we'll give you like some watered down drinks in exchange for all of your hard work? No. My
Yeah, I
my
think-
landlord doesn't accept rent tokens.
A
I
lot
feel
of the
like
time,
yeah.
I have to drive there as well and drive home because I work weekends. So I'd have work on the Sunday morning if we've got a show on a Saturday night. So paying me in drinks vouchers, I'm just like, oh, can I have a
useless.
Pepsi Max, please?
I like a social drink, but I don't see drinking as a form of currency.
It's
No.
a cheap
No.
pay because, like, I think a lot of people, especially for anyone watching in America, we don't really have tipping culture as you do in America because we don't have individual dollars. We have euros, and unless someone's throwing change at my face, it's not going to happen. You
I
know?
will
There are
say-
tipping jars. You fixed it though in some cases.
Well, sort of. When I went to Glasgow, in Glasgow and in Edinburgh in Scotland, they had this. Basically, they had like a tipping culture where it was a bucket and that was split evenly between all the performers. Now, some shows did that, other shows didn't. Like, so Trigger didn't do that, Trigger in Glasgow. But Franz Gender found out that pound coins are magnetic and they stick to your forehead. So if anyone was sticking a pound coin to their forehead, Franz would just go over and take it off, and that was Franz being tipped.
I mean, we had it in the scene recently where someone would like make a joke about tipping queens on stage, and next thing you know, they're getting like a $5 thrown at them and stuff.
Yeah.
Like was it like it was only like certain queens that were getting them. It was like Celine was getting a few once, and Celine was getting a lot of glasses of wine that night as well, just passed to her on stage.
There's one thing Celine was known for. It's always
Yeah.
having a glass of wine in hand, and it was rinsed at every single show.
Yeah.
It was just a joke made out of it, and now it's just become the audience are in it.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
just like bottles of wine getting hand. She was like, "I've got a bottle of wine." We're like, "Oh days, oh my days."
It's like I feel like every
Oh,
time
Granny's gonna
Celine's,
be-
I feel like every time Celine's been tipped, it's either been in wine or in the time that you screamed iceberg and chucked the ice at her.
Yeah, we chucked ice at her when she was singing "My Heart
Yes.
Will Go On." Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
that was great though.
But yeah, so tipping culture isn't really a thing in Ireland. And in your areas it's not really either.
No.
So but is there, so that's something that like isn't really done, but is there something in your scene that you find that only your scene does, that's something that's very, oh, this is like our thing and like we're known for it? Donna, does anything spring to mind when you think of Dublin with that?
Wait, when you say tipping culture?
Not really tipping culture, but just anything in general in terms of like drag scene, anything that like you scream is like, oh, that's Dublin's thing. Besides
I don't-
besides Pixie Woo sliding down the banister of the George and kicking Stephen Dowling in the forehead.
Honestly, Stephen had it coming. I think similar to what you said about how you have a club. I think everyone, no matter what you're doing, if you're doing a gig, unless you're all the way out in Dunleary, like Blacklight, it's very rare that you do a gig that's outside of the city. And our city is so small that you'd walk 5 minutes to one club to another. And it feels kind of safe when you're with other people, in that if you do one gig, you'll likely all end up back at the George. And the George isn't the most beautiful, the most huge. It isn't like Polo. It isn't like this big gorgeous stadium. It's a small club at the end of the day. But we all feel the comfort to all come back there. And I think at the end of the day, if you know a gig's going to happen, you're going to meet up with someone. And it's not as much of a, yes, we say food chain, but you're free to talk to whoever you want and do that kind of thing. And I feel like in later years, it's a lot more, not diverse, but it's a lot less, how do I say this? When you go to a club, I remember a couple years ago when I first went to the George, it'd be very mask presenting, very masculine kind of energies, and then drag. And then it wouldn't be very much, you wouldn't have much divide, and that people would give you weird looks for, I'd say, dressing slightly outside of the norm. And I feel like in recent years, and especially with things like TikTok, a lot of this generation that are coming into the scene now are openly like NB, you know, openly like wearing whatever the hell they want, and it feels so much more like a safe space than ever, and I love it.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that point. And the one thing that definitely stands out to me for Dublin is, like you said, it's like you go out and you'll always find someone. Like
Always.
there's always someone that you know that is out. Like I go out every single Monday to a show in the George called Win, Lose or Drag. Shout out if anyone's in Ireland, come out on the 6th. I'm performing. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be legendary. I promise I won't fall off the stage. That's Bunny's job.
Oh, I will.
But
Tip her.
yes, tip. We'll get to that later, actually.
Get a handful of 5p's and launch them.
Yay! But
Subway gift card.
the thing about all of these shows as well is, like, if you go out, I know that, like, I won't have booked a table. I won't have, like, messaged anyone being like, are you going out? I know that if I go out, I will see one, like, a friend of mine that I know. And I feel like that's only something that I've ever had in Dublin. It's like, if I go out, it's like, I know you. We're like, this is somewhere I feel safe, and I know that even if I'm by myself, there's going to be someone that I know that I can spend the night hanging out with.
Always.
What about you, Ree? Have you experienced anything like that in Newcastle? Have you noticed anything since coming out onto the scene?
So we have Northern Pride up here, which is like a full charity-run event that happens numerous times through the year. So I've just done Oosburn Family Pride, Oosburn being a part of Newcastle, and it was a Pride event for the whole family. I was one of the performers there. It was Drag Castle once again stepping forward to perform, and they also just had this whole area of Oosburn. It was dedicated for Pride activities, and it was so cute to see, like, you know, all the kids there, and like speaking to kids, and like there was this one moment that I was walking through a crowd, and I just heard from there was this like kid who was very shy. His mother was trying to get them to talk to us, and the kid was like, no, I'm just gonna cling to mum. And then I was walking through the crowd later on, and I just heard from like over my shoulder, like, look, it's one of the princesses. And I like spun round and like I made eye contact with this kid, and this kid was like, oh, and just face dropped, clung to mum again, and I was like, oh, my freaking heart. So that made my day. We also had with Northern Pride, we had an LGBTQIA plus youth prom that happened recently. So again, they got a drag castle in, and it was open to anyone over the age of 14 up to 24. If you were under 18, you had to come with a chaperone. And it was just a night for kids who identified in any way as queer to just come and hang out, encouraged to dress up. We had a show on, there was a DJ booked, there was a buffet on, and it's just it's one of these things I wish was available to me when I was a kid, because I would have like been so much more comfortable in myself so much sooner. Probably wouldn't have joined the military, which okay, could have been a good thing, could have been a bad thing, who knows. Regardless, it would have changed my life, and it's so good to see this being a thing in an area that I'm performing in right now. It fills my heart with joy.
Oh, yeah, that things like that are really cute. We don't like the only time I've ever seen anything like that myself would actually have been in like looking at things in the UK. Like we don't have all ages events in Ireland. We don't have anything where it's like, oh yeah, drag, like, I mean, Queer Cabaret started things with like story times. But we don't really have anything like that. And Bunny and Cereba, is there anything like that in Lincoln or in your county?
I mean, I've got a friend who, she works in Doncaster. She works for like an LGBTQ place over there. She creates sort of like safe spaces and events for people who wouldn't necessarily want to go out to the club. So she recently organized like an alternative pride for Doncaster, and it was like during the day. It was in like a quieter space, and it was perfect for people who were like neurodiverse or not completely comfortable with being in bars or being like publicly out kind of thing. And she was like, oh, I need some performers, and I was like, I put it out to the Lincoln Queens, and I think a couple of them went down and helped out. And it was just so nice that she did that, and I was like, I wish there was more people like that who could organize these kind of events. Because as far as I know, I don't think there is anything like that in Lincoln. It's like our our queer scene is literally the bar called The Scene. And again, it's very studenty. So, it's just new people coming through all the time. And it'll be people who they're new to the city. They're out on their own for the first time. So they're coming into this bar and it's the first time they're in one of these queer spaces and they're just like, oh, wow, what is this? And we're kind of like teaching them what it is in a way.
Yeah.
But
So I adopted a couple of baby gays before I left Lincoln. It was like, this is great. You're adorable. You've never been to gay bars before. You've never listened to a Britney Spears album in your life, and that kind of hurts my soul. But I'm leaving, so I'm going to have to give you to my drag daughter, because she is going to be around. And hopefully she can guide you in the way that I would have wanted to be guided at that point in life.
Mm-hmm.
Which even that is as 18-year-olds, and you're going out to the clubs. But before that, like Bunny said, there's not really much around. Even back down here in my hometown now, there's really not much of a queer space at all. Like there's one weekly queer event, and that's on a Sunday night, and it's just a little bit of but they get a drag queen come in and perform for like an hour or two, and then before and after that, it's just karaoke night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like we touched a lot on how we wish there was more of a queer scene for like young people and for youth. Like a lot of us growing up queer, I know I can say it. I can't speak for all of y'all, but show of hands, who pretty much learned how to be queer from social media and television and RuPaul's Drag Race and all that stuff.
I'm old. Social media wasn't a thing when I was a teenager.
Hey, no, am I not the oldest here? I don't even know.
I'm 34.
Okay, you're a little bit. You know Bebo? You remember Bebo?
MySpace.
Oh,
I'm a
Bebo.
MySpace era kind of girl.
You
was
really
great.
are. Yeah, but
You can tell
I
by
mean-
the hair that I'm MySpace era.
That is true.
honestly, that brings me back to like some of the digital drag performances from the very, very start of COVID, like, and people referencing MySpace era. I was like, yes. But this is a cute segue. You see, there was a cute segue from this. Because of social media and the popularization of social media, of RuPaul's Drag Race, of television shows like that, what is something that, like, this is gonna be a quick whip around one thing. What is the first major, like, what is one major difference you notice between a scene that is in the US and a scene and your home scene? For me, it would definitely be, I'm gonna take the easy route here. I'm gonna say tipping culture. The fact that in the US, tipping culture is such a huge thing, and people like interrupt their numbers to go and pick up a tip and then go back. Bunny, what would you say?
I don't think there'll be a queen like Celine Begone in America.
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
I feel like you should tell the class who Celine Begone is.
Celine Begone, she is, how did Blair describe her? Like the drunk aunt at every wedding.
She's the drunk aunt.
No, she's just like glass of wine in each hand. She can't walk in her heels. She always wears like a posh frock, and
But doesn't hit the floor.
doesn't hit the floor. But she's
It's
so
an ill-fitting dress.
Yeah. And
And
Be
she
nice, she might be
rocks it.
watching this.
I hope she is.
I want her to be.
She doesn't know how to work a computer.
God, no.
The thing is, though, she's younger than me.
You don't know how to work computers either. Anyways, so Celine Begone's drag is something that you haven't seen, and you don't like. That's a huge difference. You wouldn't have seen. You wouldn't
Yeah.
expect to see that in
I wouldn't
in the
expect
US.
to see someone like Celine on like American Drag Race or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's actually word it
Jonah.
nicely. Celine's more one of those like old school drag
Yeah,
styles.
she
So
is.
like more of like the Lily Savage era.
Yeah,
where
but
it
she's
is
not
more
like panto
comedy and
daily.
live bits,
She's-
but it's not
yeah.
for the same. It's like you go to a panto, but it's not like a top tier panto with like ex cast from EastEnders. It's like the little school panto. That would be the dame that Celine is.
Yeah.
Okay. Jonah, what would you say is a major difference between kind of the US and anything that you would have seen in the US compared to us?
I think kind of echoing the point of dame culture. So for me, growing up, a big thing that kind of inspired me was dames and like pantos. And we also had people like Shirley Temple Bar who did Lotto on TV, but that to everyone was like a dame. They might not have necessarily said like drag queen, they would have said more dame. So a lot of kind of I guess not darker humor, but more kind of grotesque kind of drag somewhat, like very crude funny jokes, very on the nose. I think we kind of put dames almost for a long time in a kind of different category altogether, but they've kind of merged into what our scene would be, which there is a lot of people who are mainly like dancing and kind of, you know, like human hair wigs, things like that, and then you have some crusty dames. I'm just saying that's the nicest way possible. Nicest way possible saying that. But like, it's not.
Do you know
all
what?
about...
I'm sending this to you. You know exactly who I'm going to clip this and send it to.
Do it. I want to gig. But what I'm saying is that like, it's not all about the imagery. It's all about like the performance, and not all of it. It's like live singing and honestly, just kind of like more of having fun as opposed to kind of the I hate saying it, but the polish that RuPaul's Drag Race has kind of put onto the scene. Which I think there's benefits, but a lot of negatives that's come from Drag Race. But the benefit is that there is just so many more young queer people who are breaking the boundaries, which is just A plus. Boundaries of gender. Sorry, gender expression. I don't know what I said that. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
It's I can just see the cogs just slowly starting to like get tired.
Slow. One cog.
The steam is coming out now. It's like, oh, we're getting tired.
I'm needing some oil, thank you.
Rebel, what do you think?
So I'm going to give two answers. Yes, look at me being prepared. One, I feel like a big difference is this idea of reading, like the idea that you have to be nasty to be funny to other people, and it's like no. So over here, it's more like it's more dry, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily stabbing into someone's eyes until someone laughs in the audience. It's more subtle over here. You know what I mean? And I think that's it's a cultural difference, right? I read something the other day. I can't remember who said it, but if Britain and America spoke different languages, we probably wouldn't be allies. Like our cultures are so vastly different. And I think one of the biggest issues we have over here, that this could be me outing myself as a terrible performer, who knows? But it's so difficult to get like the same reaction that you see in American drag videos. You know, that screaming, that clamoring, the all inhibitions dropped audience who are just like almost gagging to get on that stage with you, but knowing they can't. Over here, it's like you need to put in that little bit. I don't know if it's a little bit extra, or you need to get more drunk with the audience. I don't know, but the audience is much more reserved. It's more like tight upper lip, like yes, that was a superb show. Thank you very much for performing for us.
Terrifying.
I can echo this actually, because there was one time I was doing a show. It was right before COVID, and the audience was like really, really, really quiet. And I came off stage after my first number, and I went to the stage manager and I was like, "Is it me or is the crowd like really shite today?" And she was like, "No, they are loving you. They're just like the reason that they're quiet is because they're sitting down and they're taking everything in." And that is something that, like Ree said, you like that is the kind of normal response you get here, and you don't see the clacking the fan all the time in the Georgia or in the scene or anywhere like that.
It's a totally different atmosphere.
Because I think I was only thinking about this recently because shows are starting to open up again. I would like on a normal day, like even sometimes earlier because of our restrictions, you'd book like a table, you get drinks, you sit, you relax, you enjoy a show, you interact, and then after there might be kind of nightclub, not as much nightclub, but just kind of like bops. It's not as intense, but you go to see a show and you enjoy it and you take it in. I feel like it's quite rare to see someone getting up on stage and trying to take over for the queen doing high kicks. It's more like you enjoy it. And also the drag queens here, for the most part, double as a bodyguard as well. Like you wouldn't get on their stage. They will drop you.
There was this one time that Filthy Gorgeous was performing on a Monday, and this really drunk girl who didn't, I think it was her first time in a drag bar, and I was like, girl, oh no. But she came up and she started like walking on the stage, and the bouncer comes up and Phil was like, no. He turned her around and just was like, get off my stage. Like it didn't like push her or anything, but was just like, no, get off, because I will kill you.
We were-
Not actual kill.
No, it's
I've done
that,
the
like,
same.
threatening. It's that like yeah.
Right.
We were performing at a local theatre, just a small theatre here in Newcastle, and it was Lucy Furr on stage, and she was doing a number. It was a ridiculous number. It was amazing. It was just playing tequila and just taking a shot every single time it said tequila. But she did it.
I saw this video.
Yes, and this woman who we thought was a performer from next door, who we let stay even though she didn't have a ticket, she ended up coming out of nowhere from the direction of the bar and just taking to the stage, grabbing Lucy and being like, "We're gonna dance now." Just taking one dance, just like going into this like dance while tequila's playing, and all of us are to the side of the stage like, "Is this part of the act? Who is this person? Like what?" Lucy was not impressed.
Yeah, that was a funny video. But like, okay, Sariba, you're the only one that we haven't asked yet. What's the difference that you would see?
I think in terms of like types of shows are very different between the two. Obviously, I'd say UK wise, we're a lot more like cabarets and full on drag shows. Whereas, like alternatively in America, you look at things like, you've got a lot more pageantry, you've got just pure drag shows, but then you've also got like things like ballroom culture, which is iconic, and I wish there was more of it over in the UK, or at least more of it near where I lived most of the time, because I just love to go to a ball. It's all I really think. Just because it was like, as a queer person of color as well, like ballroom culture has such strong history that a lot more people need to learn about it, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. We like there's like two, I think it's two, Donut, correct me if I'm wrong here. I think there's two kind of groups in Ireland that run like quote unquote balls. Like they're not like full ballroom culture. House of Falls presents up in Belfast and Makia down in Cork.
Yeah. But even still, it's kind of like a love letter. It's not,
Yeah,
like
it's not the
we're
real
not-
thing.
not the real thing. Because I think another thing that I'm kind of glad, I don't mean to hijack this or anything. Another thing I think that we kind of do in Ireland is I feel like Drag Race has kind of implemented a lot of people to pretty much just appropriate and take on AAVE. Whereas here, it's not really as common. You wouldn't really hear people being like, yeah, slay, things that you wouldn't really hear that here at all. I feel, which I actually am I'm happy that it isn't being like taken over and hijacked and things like that. It's a lot less common here. As I said, it is more kind of old school cabaret, but saying that, we're still not as diverse as we should be.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, actually, going on to that, it's like, you're more likely to hear someone, like, you're less likely to hear someone scream, "Yes, queen," and you're gonna more likely hear, "Go on, you big ride, yeah." It's very that. It is very that. But yeah, so now, because obviously we've social media and all of this kind of thing, we're going to tie things into Twitch, because this is a Twitch thing. This is a very, very important Twitch thing. But how has the popularization of social media and Twitch been able to influence your drag and change who you are? Like, I'll go out on the limb and say, like, being on Twitch has definitely changed my drag into a whole new of like, my drag used to always be real like skimpy, cutesy, always show a leg, always look like a, for lack of a better word, always look like a whore. And now it's more so I've kind of gone like a completely different route where I feel like this is cute. Like this is a full jumpsuit. And it's like comfy.
We see the
but
sock.
it's...
We see the sock.
I saw the sock.
I saw the sock.
Wait, I'm pulling out the egg. Out the egg.
Wow.
Bunny, where's your one?
Where's my egg? Where's my egg?
It's like, where's Wally of tattoos?
If I rip off this wig, I can give you egg.
But yeah, definitely that, and as well as the like Ree's entire wish of like what they want to do with drag, of like the bending of gender. My drag has gone from a super hyper feminine place to that kind of like little bit of a more androgynous. I know I still come across quite feminine when I'm in drag, but that little bit of a more androgynous kind of vibe to it, which in turn has allowed me to come out as non-binary. But that's for a different panel, y'all. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without seeing all of these different types of drags on social media, because obviously the drag that we have in Ireland is very limited and very small, and without social media it wouldn't be growing the way it is. So Sariba, how have you found that social media and or Twitch has affected your drag?
In all honesty, it hasn't really affected it too much because I'm not really much of someone that posts a lot on social media, as would be apparent if you like check my Instagram. And the last thing I posted was probably like 2 months ago. But like,
That's still recent. That's recent enough, might I say. Some of us
Yeah.
go dormant for months and be like, I'm still here.
yeah, like, I still remember like, after the whole lockdown situation ended and we were allowed to go back in clubs, literally the first thing I posted was, guess who's black in the house? Like, I've been months without drag, so I need something that's just going to be sharp to the point and like, boom, hi, I still exist. To like however many people would actually see the post. But I don't tend to use social media as much of a crux. I'm like, I'd rather be out and talking to people than I am, which makes no sense because I tend to despise human beings, which also makes no sense as both a drag queen and a bartender. I'm just like, people. But it's like, I feel like I'm breaking Nikki with this.
A little bit. I'm like,
I know her. I know what she's
Can't
like.
break what's
It's
broken.
Like, Bunny can vouch for this entirely. Like, most of the time, I'm like, oh, ew, don't like this. And then the next minute, I am the bubbliest, bounciest, nicest person you will possibly see. And it's just like, I feel like that's what my drag tends to be towards, is being someone that people could come and speak to and talking to them. Like, ignoring the socials.
Okay. Yeah. How about yourself, Ree? Because I know that you, like, you had a lot of your drag upbringing, unfortunately, through COVID. So how have you found that being on Twitch and basically, like, cementing your start on Twitch? Do you think that has, how is that? This words are hard.
just moo.
Still moo.
I'm coming for Muella's gig. This is what happens when I drink Monster, y'all.
I'm gonna let you.
Moonster.
I'm gonna let you not finish that sentence. I'm gonna let you breathe, Nikki. I'll take over from here. So so my entire drag career has been pretty much on socials and Twitch. I started when lockdown hit, mainly as a hobby to keep myself busy, waiting for my job to come back, which was first going to be 3 weeks. Hold off for 3 weeks, we'll get you back. And then it became 3 months, and it was like, okay, well, what now? In between that time of 3 weeks and 3 months, I kind of stumbled onto TikTok. And my original plan was to use like TikTok as like an alternative modeling kind of scene, because I just won Alternate Model of the Year as my boy self, and I was like, okay, yeah, great, this is going to be my thing. And then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, I've been putting off this drag thing for ages, and I've been meaning to get into it and just sit down and start practicing some makeup looks. Maybe I should use TikTok. So I wiped the original TikTok, started again with a new one, and made it all about drag. And then a friend of mine who'd been bugging me to get on Twitch for about a year was finally like, now could be the time to look into the Twitch thing. You should start Twitch streaming. And I was like, oh, we could do 2 birds, 1 stone here. I could do drag and Twitch at the same time. So TikTok and Twitch have both been huge influences in my drag. I can look back on my clips from like a year ago, or like 16 months ago, and I can see the evolution of my makeup, of my persona, of literally everything that I am. The embodiment of me changes over that 16-month period I've been on Twitch, because I started out on Twitch having never really touched drag prior, apart from a month or 2 on TikTok. So social media has been huge for me, Twitch especially, and being a part of Stream Queens and opening up my eyes to all of our drag kings and creatures and other queens and characters and everyone we've got in Stream Queens, and other drag artists on Twitch who aren't in Stream Queens. It's just been it's inspirational.
Just again. Go on, you big right shit! Go on! That, yeah. I don't even, I can't even.
Motivational speaker, honestly. I feel motivated now.
Read for the Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize for rebel.
Okay,
Donut, how about yourself?
Well, honestly, Twitch has kind of given me a career like during lockdown, because before lockdown I was working as a full-time baker in London in the worst hours. I hated it so much and I missed talking to people. And then when lockdown came around, I went back onto Twitch. I was already on Twitch for about 6 months before that. And I was already in Stream Queens. And from doing that, I got on to do a drag development program with Twitch. I basically got to amplify how often I did drag. I did drag like 2-3 times a week. And that's been like, what, almost 2 years since then. And since doing that, I've what Twitch has given me is a feck ton of friends and people that I just adore and will adore for the rest of my life. It's kind of amplified my drag a ton. It's given me I guess a better, like, a career and I guess stability when everyone else is, you know, the opposite. And what it's done is it's given myself, and I'm sure yourself, Nikki, is the same, being one of very few drag artists on this island that actually had somewhat of a career during lockdown. Basically, we got to kind of amplify and chat and do so much while so many people kind of were so unaware of Twitch. You know, we were already here doing it, grinding away and all that. I know grinding isn't really a positive thing to say on Twitch, but sometimes it is a bit of a grind, you know? Well, it really is.
Like, I mean, you got me into Twitch. I didn't know that Twitch existed until I met you.
I'm so sorry, by the way, everyone. I'm so sorry.
You know what? That's it. You gotta blame Donut Tart for all of the mishaps that have been going on, everything that's been falling apart. Like that, it's all Donut Tart's fault for bringing me onto this platform. But I totally get that, because you and I have both worked really, really hard on Twitch, especially during lockdown, while a lot of people in our scene were very like, we don't know what to do, and just like freaked out. And both of us, instead of freaking out, we put that energy into Twitch. So
and we've been the heaviest lockdown as well. I feel like out of a load of countries, we've been in a very heavy lockdown. So even just getting wigs and outfits and stuff here, hell. But
Brexit.
We're still here. We're still queer. I'm Brexit. Oh, don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
All of you Brits in this thing right now.
You had to vote leave. But yeah. And how about you, MySpace?
Oh my days. So
Please tell me someone else is reading the comments, by the way, because I'm loving this.
Oh, they're great. I love all these comments right now. Evie saying, I blame Donut for my bad credit. But yeah,
so
funny.
I'd been performing for just over a year before lockdown hit, and it was always, when I was performing, it was always like, oh, I'm gonna do a lip sync to this, I'm gonna do a lip sync to that kind of thing, and I'd always try and spice it up somehow. But when you're working in a bar, you have such limited resources, and so when lockdown hit and digital drag became a thing, I flourished. I was able to show what I could do. So I was like doing digital drag numbers where I'm fire breathing, where I'm fire eating, you know, body burning, all that kind of stuff. Because I can't do that in a bar. You know, I'm going to get that place evacuated and the fire brigade's going to arrive. You know, but I loved like online drag. It's such a great thing, and obviously it's opened up what I can do to so many more people, and I've met more people through it. And I've just loved the way that everything went online last year, and now everything's kind of coming back to normal. I'm like, I miss it. I do miss it a bit. Just going into a bar can be scary now.
To me.
Omicron might provide.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're going back interconnected though. We're a little bit more connected, I feel, going back into it, which is nice, because you don't get the personality of someone from just seeing like a gig. And like same thing with like Drag Race, you only get to know someone through their like confessionals. With Twitch and online, we actually get to know the drag that's behind and the people behind it, and it's such a blessing. It's amazing. I'm not religious, but it's a blessing.
Happy in the presence of the Lord.
Oh,
not that again.
No, I don't.
round in my head.
Listen, I went to Catholic primary school. Like that is primary school for anyone in the US is elementary, I think, right? Yeah. But no, definitely with that whole thing, and like Rebel and Donna, like we are when we're on stage, we're one person, but when we're on Twitch, we're a different person altogether. We're us. We are us, because there's putting up a big massive front on Twitch it's difficult. It's draining. Excuse me. It is like, so it's just better and easier for us to be authentic because we're not masking. Because let's be fair, majority of us are spicy in some way. Spicy.
Honey, you're vanilla.
I'm pulling out the gay card for that.
Spicy as a yogurt.
Not the gay card.
I'm pulling out the gay card. I'm pulling the gay card. But yeah, like Twitch is definitely.
My card out for obvious reasons.
Go on, you know you want to. Go on.
I do want to.
Do it. Treat us all. Treat everyone here on the Stream Queens channel.
Just gonna casually pull out the black card. Vanilla self.
But where was I? But yeah, no, we've definitely like flourished a little bit. I feel like I'm me because of Twitch, if that makes sense. And like I can go into the club now, and instead of having to mask because of like my autism, or like having to put on a consistent character of being like, I'm Nikki Stones, I'm like, I'm just me, and I'm happy to be me. And the fact that this is just going to be a little soppy for a minute. The fact that I can go onto Twitch and just be me and sit in front of, whether it's 1 viewer, 100 viewers, 1,000 viewers, no matter what it is, but the fact that there's someone and people there that want to just be there for me is the most positive and like uplifting feeling that you don't get from a club. You don't get from performing in a club. So, thank you.
There's more of a connection, yeah. It's cute.
Yeah.
I feel like Rebel, me, is the conscious being that I want to be as often as I can be when I'm not in drag. Like Rebel for me is my goal. So I'm on a sappy moment. I'm honestly honored and flattered and everything that I can use Twitch as a platform alongside like fans, viewers, friends who I can grow alongside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah. Twitch has been good to us.
It's a thing now. We clap.
It's a real. Bunny and I do it all the time. Bunny and I are like we're like having our full spicy moments, and we're just like
Spicy.
Woo! You know.
Idiot moments.
How am I supposed to explain like with all the neurodiversity? But do you know what? We have a little bit of extra time, so let's do a couple of buzz questions. Are we ready? Quick fire buzz round.
Oh.
Quick fire buzz round. Are there any scenes that you want to visit or experience, and why? I will start out. I want to visit, well, it's actually one that I'm going to be visiting really, really soon. I want to visit Connecticut because the drag there is so cool and really just like, there's a huge polish, but it's also like there's a level of nerdiness and stupidity there that you don't really see in Dublin, and that is one that I really, really, I'm excited to visit and excited to experience. Donna.
Quickly, realistically, Brighton, because Brighton is queer and camp and cabaret. But if I had a lot of money, hey Twitch, Chicago, I'd love to go to the Chicago. Hey Mr. Twitch,
said, tip me.
Tip
like, hey Mr. Twitch, just slowly like slides down the zip. Okay.
Reaches everywhere.
Oh, stop. PayPal.com/Donato. I don't know.
Yeah. It's in the chat. It's in the. No, I'm kidding.
Sariba, what about you?
New York thing, just because again, ballroom culture, diversity, like boom, it's there.
Mm-hmm. Rebel?
So I kind of want to go back to London now that I'm like actually a drag queen rather than like an aspiring drag queen. Rather than being like, I'm going to do that one day. Now that I'm actually doing it, I would love to hit London again and like perform, especially in the Phoenix Arts Club. It's kind of like a goal of mine to perform in the Phoenix Arts Club at some point. And other than that, I'm also going to steal Brighton because iconic, right?
Yeah.
Need to go to
It's
Brighton.
the gay capital of Europe.
I want to add. I want to add one. Bristol.
Bristol.
Jessica Jungle can't get rid of me. Okay, Bunny, what about you?
I really, really want to go up to Glasgow because I'm friends online with so many people up there. So I'm desperate to go up there. But I'm also obsessed with Chicago drag. Like Chicago drag is just incredible. I'd love to just experience it in person.
I just want to go watch Eva Destruction live. That's all I want.
Oh my god,
my
yes.
God. Yes.
Oh,
This place.
I want to see Luke and me live.
Ooh.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, if anyone wants to be my sugar parent and fly me over to see Luke and me live,
So,
like
Nikki, the
Chicago.
gender neutral term is glucose guardian.
Glucose Guardian, Glucose Guardian. Oh, and Seattle as well. Seattle drag. A bunch of amazing performers. So I need to definitely go over there. Okay, now we talked about somewhere that we wanted to visit, but have you ever considered moving to a different scene altogether and doing drag somewhere else? And why? For me, definitely yes. It was going to Glasgow. That fell through. We don't talk about it. Bunny.
For a while, I was a teeny bit involved in the Nottingham scene, but it didn't work out for me. I went back to Lincoln, and I think Lincoln has stuck with me. I don't think anywhere else would have me, if I'm honest. Cerebral, back me up on that one.
I know this too.
Oh, also hi Blair. Just noticed you saying.
Yeah, Blair is in chat right now. So, Blair, we didn't mention anything that would get you incriminated or anything.
No.
Mm.
Oh,
Rebel. What about you? What about you?
I forgot. Oh yeah, moving. So
Moving.
I feel like because I've landed here in Newcastle relatively recently, and all of my drag up until like the last couple of months has been pretty much exclusively Twitch. I don't really have like an affiliation to any one place. My personal goal / dream is somewhere that is a much warmer climate than the UK. Oh, goodness me. This winter time that we're going through right now is not the one. No, thank you. I'm thinking, do you know what? I've been thinking Portugal for a very long time, but I've actually had the thought recently, maybe Cyprus. It's just a small island. It's remote. I don't think there's much of a drag scene there. I could go there and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could go there and take it by storm. Maybe I could be the founding drag artist of Cyprus.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google this right now. Actually.
We're all gonna come join you when you got your first show and just be like, yay.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll be
gonna
there.
go.
We'll be there front row, but we won't be going. Yes, we'll be like, go on to big ride.
Cyprus drag scene.
Is there a drag scene in Cyprus?
I don't know. I Google the Stardust. There's something called
I'm
Stardust.
Googling it right now. Oh, my friend moved. Wait, Bonnie and Clyde just moved there.
No.
no.
That was Gran
Stardust.
Canaria. Gran Canaria.
But Stardust in Gran Canaria, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I can't remember it. Whatever. It's
I don't
hot,
know.
basically.
Robin Diamonds moved over there as well.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
the
A lot of our queens are moving to harder places, basically.
one and only comedy drag variety show in Cyprus.
Ooh.
So there is already one there. I would be joining a scene.
wow.
Does Ryanair fly to Cyprus? We can all go.
You'd
I
never
think
fly
so.
Ryanair. Shut up.
No, I will never fly Ryanair. Never again. Not after that one time I got a concussion when I was flying out of Glasgow. Jonah, how about you?
Next up on the panel, Ryanair.
It's like
I think the goal at the moment is basically just get back to London for a bit, but it's not going to be forever because I do love our scene so much. I'd like to be there for a while because not just for like performing gigs, but also there's a lot of media studios and things like that there that kind of have, a lot more, media related things, ads, panels, things like that, things that are just like more on the media side, but it's right there and then, because there's just like, I think Dublin is trying to get more online queer channels and spaces and TV and things like that, but London is just a little bit ahead in that I want to get there. Also, they have Taco Bell and Krispy Kreme, so that's why I want to be there for just a little while, and then I'll come back home, because
We have that in Newcastle as well.
We have Taco Bell and Krispy Kreme here.
I'm on the
Yeah.
way.
So
On the
so
way.
basically,
Like,
what you're
has,
saying
like-
is, so what you're saying is, you're gonna go over, get on Drag Race UK, win it, and then come back.
Lose it, then come back maybe if they pay me anything for it. Yeah, go on. No, I basically I want to go because I love how big the scene is there, and I love cities. I love cities so much, and they've got an underground. It's great. But I love Ireland so much, and I think Dublin is where I will have my. I'll be dead here. I will die here. I will die in this hill. Give me another 10 years. I'll be there. So.
I will say this though, Aubrey Wodonga, if anyone doesn't know Aubrey regularly takes the tube, so the London Underground, and I'm pretty sure it's the Central Line, so the really, really, really hot one, in full drag, and I don't know how she does it.
Honestly, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna break her ribbon things, but I'm gonna learn how.
You're
to
gonna break the hoop.
She's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna tie you up, and I just fall. I break all of the scarf, but I want her to teach me how to do a cartwheel. That's my goal. Rebel, when you're there, we're gonna learn how to do cartwheels together. Okay?
Okay, sweet. That
Well, I'll
sounds
take.
okay, sweet.
Listen, Aubrey owes me because because she couldn't meet up with me because of work last time I went over, so we'll make this a thing. We'll make this a thing.
We're all
Sariba.
going to Circus Queens.
Oh, Cypress Queens. Yes, let's do it. Okay, Sariba. I know you've literally just moved, but would
I've
you consider
literally
moving
just
anywhere
moved back to
before
my
drag?
hometown. The thing is that luckily where my hometown is, I'm like half an hour out of London. And then, as Bunny has been made aware of on the numerous occasions when I'd have to travel from Lincoln back down here to do a show, like either the day before or the day after being in Lincoln doing something. Like on Friday night, I'd be doing a shot shift in drag there. And then Saturday day, I'd be getting a train all the way down here. It'd be like 3.5 hour journey. But it's like, I've never really had an issue with like traveling to places to do things. Like if I get booked to travel to go somewhere. But I do really want to go to Brighton as well. I feel like everyone just wants to go to Brighton. Blair, I'm sorry, I know. I'm not gonna say what, but I know.
Like, half the scene queens are in Brighton now. If you
Yeah.
want to go.
Oh,
Plus, it's
my
like
goodness.
me and Blair both moved down. Just Blair went further than I did.
Yeah.
And then we've got X, who's a Brighton resident,
Yeah.
travels up to Lincoln to do shows.
What's it, like a 5-hour drive or something?
That's
Yeah,
insane. That's actually something that Donna and I never really have to experience, because for us in Dublin, if we try to go down to a gig in Cork, it's only like 2 hours. Up in Belfast, only 2 hours.
Expensive though. It's expensive. Our traveling, our trains are actually trash here. That's the one thing about
Bestie,
England that
Bestie,
it's not great.
Bestie, use the student fares. Use your leap card.
I'm not a student.
So that never stopped
Like
me.
that.
They're going to
Like,
check.
show us you're a student. I'll be like, I'm 12. No, it doesn't work. Basically, our rails are very limiting. Whereas in England, like literally, you go anywhere from one stop, it's solid.
No.
It's a shame about the costs and the unreliability, though. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cheaper than ours. It's
Like,
cheaper.
No,
than
it's
ours.
not. It's not.
Ours. I tried to go to Cork. It cost €80.
What?
€80. Yes.
What? It's,
Yes!
No.
it's not real money.
No. Because it will cost a train from Because a train from London to Glasgow or London to Edinburgh costs like over £150.
Also, it's further than we are from Edinburgh and Glasgow.
True.
It
It's a
also
5-hour
depends
train
on how
journey.
far in advance you book the train.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do anything in advance. Ew.
Well, here's the
Never.
thing, because
Yeah.
I got a train ticket up from London to where Bunny was, and that was only £7, and that was
What?
a 2.5
Excuse
hour.
me.
That was,
What?
yeah, LNER,
Yeah.
LNER,
I
2.5
couldn't
hour
believe
train.
it.
It was great, 2.5 hour train ride. Granted, I was in the quiet coach and I had to sit beside some drunk people on a hen party, but like it was fine. I kicked them in my sleep. It was great.
Oh, you get used to that on LNER. Like, if you get on an LNER train and there's not some group of ladies with a bottle of Prosecco and a bottle of wine,
Yeah, and the Marks and
You know,
Spencer's
then
pre-mixed
LNER.
gin drinks.
I was
Yes.
on an LNER train once, and then all these people just like as we're moving, all these people started coming into our carriage, and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, the carriage back there, it's full of smoke," and we're like, "Oh, the train's on fire. We're still moving."
The train's on
British
fire.
transport.
It's like,
It's like we can't
oh,
afford
no.
to stop this train. We're just gonna keep going. It's on fire.
Oh my
Paid
god.
for it,
Oh
do it.
no.
You
We're
paid for
getting
it.
to our
Most-
destination.
Yeah.
Oh no, our train. It's broken. Anyways, I have just been told by our lovely tech icon Dola, which by the way, we're just gonna give a special shout out to everyone on tech. We always give a special shout out at the very end of the convention as well, but literally everyone on the Momager team and everyone behind the scenes has been working so hard on this convention. So like, please support, give them all of the love in the entire world. So shout out to y'all. But we've got our 5-minute warning. So it's time for our final thoughts. So we're going to plug ourselves. And not in that way, Donna, you nasty.
Like,
Oh. Ew. That's over on Donna's channel. You can catch that later on. But so plug yourself. Twitch channel,
Yes.
social media, upcoming shows, upcoming projects. If you have anything that you're like really like embarrassed about that you wanna say. So like I don't know. Sariba, take it away.
What embarrassing things? Aside
Just
from
plug yourself. I don't know.
plug myself, honey, I ain't got nothing to plug. You know me. I don't do socials. Like the only social media I use is my Instagram, which is @jammingmore, because I'm too lazy to have a separate account. Shows, I've not got anything booked at the moment until February. So again, if you know any gigs going up around your places, let them know who I am.
Okay. But yeah, thank you for being a part of the panel. I adore you.
No.
Rebel,
Hi.
take it
Okay.
away, my love.
You can find me at twitch.tv/rebel 4 days a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 7 till 10 p.m. Tuesdays, I also do makeup on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. and Sundays from 1 till 4 p.m. Also, I've got some gigs coming up. This Sunday, the 5th of December, I'm performing in Manchester in Bar Pop. I am hosting the Rogue Alternative Model. No, cancel that. Sorry.
Take two.
Wait, I have a
Action.
thing for this. I have a thing for this. I'm hosting
Yes.
Rogue Alternative Market and Cabaret. There's a cabaret on show. I am the host of the cabaret. Also, 22nd of December, I am in a drag panto here in Newcastle in Prohibition Bar. It's also going to be live streamed around the world. Check out my socials for tickets at Rebel on literally everything. See you there.
Yes, we stan. Donna.
hi,
How are you?
you can find me on my channel Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Depending on what the genre is, it's either 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. GMT. So today, being my normal Wednesday, I'm actually doing horror instead. But usually it's 3 days a week. Otherwise, projects coming up. I have become an ambassador for the It Gets Better charity, where basically they have brought on lots of content creators to their Twitch channel to make content for them, for LGBT youth to make safe spaces online, which isn't as accessible for a lot of people around the world. So as part of that, next Monday, I will be doing a gay Get Ready with Me with the one and only Deer over on the It Gets Better channel. I believe it's 8 p.m. GMT. And throughout the month, I'll be doing lots of stuff with them, such as baking with other streamers as a chosen family kind of thing near Christmas. Lots of fun things on the It Gets Better channel, but all of that is on my socials and such. Donna_tart, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yes. Bunny O Honey, what you got coming on?
I've got no gigs booked in, and so again, if you want to hire this hot mess, you are more than welcome to. I'm not a streamer, but you can usually find me swinging the banhammer around in Nikki's channel, in the chat, then bullying her. Instagram, if you like photos of cats and tweets about cats, I'm there, Bunny O'Honey, on Twitter and Instagram, all one word. And I will be in Dublin on Monday, if anybody else is around.
Yes. And then for myself, well, you can find me on twitch.tv/Nikki_Stones, same as here. I go live every single Tuesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. GMT, sometimes 7:30, depending on how much of a nap I've had beforehand. Playing a lot of like just stupid stuff. I'm performing in the George on the 6th on Monday in Win Loser Drag, so show times at 8 p.m. And then I am doing a brunch in the Lighthouse Bar Dunleary on the 11th. So if anyone is in Ireland and wants to catch those, you're more than welcome to bop on by. I will also be in Connecticut from the 15th to the 22nd of December. So you'll probably find me running around tipping people in Shea and Mohegan in Hartford. So if any of you are around, come and say hi. And yeah, that's kind of it for me. But I do want to say one last thing before we go away. Today is December 1st, which is World AIDS Day. Obviously, we are in the midst of a huge pandemic, and the AIDS crisis was a major pandemic that took over in the 80s. So if you were not alive, please do some research on it. If you were alive, you obviously know all of this. But if you take anything out of this panel at all, just remember that being like people with HIV are not dirty. U equals U. Undetectable means untransmittable. HIV is not the end of your life. And we are also fundraising at the moment for World AIDS Day. So if you do !donate in the chat, you can donate. We have a little goal down there in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. So please, please, please check that out. And yeah, follow all of us on all our socials. Follow all of us on Twitch. You can click on that green heart on the right-hand side of the screen for the dynamic follow buttons. And yeah, just have a happy Stream Queens Con, y'all. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And on behalf of all of us here in the UK and Ireland, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, friends.